Stuck trying to trigger your Apex action in AgentForce and nothing is working? Whether it is missing annotation, permission, or agent configurations, I've got you covered. In this video, we'll walk you through step by step through all the things that you need that can break your Apex in AgentForce and how to fix it real fast. Let's troubleshoot. So I'm on my Salesforce org and I have a simple configuration here. On the topic section, I have weather inquiry as a topic. It has very simple instructions. One, to ask for the location when the user is asking for weather inquiry, and call the Apex class that goes with the name check weather. Let's go ahead and check what is the action that we have. This is the Apex action that I have, which is check weather. It is invoking a Apex class by the same name. And what it does is it checks weather at Coral Cloud Resort at a specific date. The inputs are, it takes a date and it gives a response. If I quickly go back to the developer console, so this is the class and this is the method. So it takes a list of weather requests. Weather request is a inner class that I have. Similarly, I have a response as a weather response as a inner class, which is giving me the output variable. And this is the method. If you see, there is nothing fancy here. I'm just hard coding a few values to mimic the response. Now, when a request comes in, we are sending a response as 31 as a response. Now, a couple things to notice. If you're not able to select this method in the first place in the AgentForce, which should not be the case if you have come to this step where you are able to trigger your class and still not being able to see the output. So if that is not the case, if you are still not able to find your class in the here, if you're not able to find your Apex class from this list, that is where make sure that you are annotate that method with @invocable method. Second thing is, so I'll ask for what is the temperature today, and it is asking me in which location we want it. I'll say New Delhi, and it is going off the topic. If you look at this section, the number of instructions that we have for our weather inquiry, this particular topic, weather inquiry, there is one action that has been configured and two instructions. Instructions are two, as shown earlier, but there is no action as such. Irrespective of how many times you refresh the screen, irrespective of whatever you do, you still be facing this issue until unless you fix one problem. So if I go back to this section of debugging, it is going into the off topic and there is no action being scheduled. Hence it is going and saying, hi, how can I help you here? All right. So how do you fix it? The problem here is there is an Apex class that is there and you have made sure that it is marked as @invocable method. The challenge comes in when you are not providing the access to the user. What kind of an access that you need to provide? You need to provide this user profile with the Apex class access. So how do you identify this user? Copy this username, go to users, search for that user. So here is my user, I opened it, and this is the user, and it would be marked with a profile called Einstein agent user. By now you might have guessed it, all the users that you would be using your AgentForce would be under this profile until unless you are using a custom profile with this user license as agent, Einstein agent. So make sure that you are picking up the right profile, open that profile, and then you can go to the Apex access. So I'll just go back. So you open that profile that you are configuring for, go to Apex classes access. In this list, identify the class that for which you want the AgentForce to pick up. So I'll just say edit in here so that I can give access at the same time while searching for my class. I'll search for, check whether this is the Apex class. Feel free to check it, save. So our changes are being saved. Now come back to your AgentForce builder, do a refresh in here, and then paste the query once again. Earlier, remember we are not able to invoke that action. Now let's see what is the response in here. First of all, what I notice in here is, as soon as I ask for that query and the AgentForce routed the topic to the weather inquiry, which is our topic, I see an action present here. So this is one way to identify whether the Apex class has been invoked in the first place or not. So now if you see here, it is going into that particular topic and it is asking me for a date. So I'll say today, I'll just say today once again, and it is returning me 31. So this is the 31 which is hard coded. It could have done this part of picking the date itself here, but anyways, we are able to finally trigger the Apex action, that is, which is our point of debugging in here. Couple of things to notice in case if you are facing an issue where your Apex class is not being triggered. First, make sure your method is annotated correctly and your input variables are also being accurately present, so that way once you configure your Apex class, you don't end up having a problem configuring your input and output. Second thing is, make sure your Apex class has the access being provided to the profile for the user that it has been configured for. Many a times we end up giving a profile access for the class to a different user, different profile, considering that it is under the same profile. Make sure that you're going by the user and then providing the access to that particular profile that is connected to. Always remember that even though you're passing a single input, it would always take it in a list. So make sure that you're passing them in the list parameter. If you have invoked it properly and if you can see your Apex class being invoked in the debugging section, so where you see that under the action, make sure that you open the debug logs and check if it has been properly executed. Make sure that you are putting the access to the right user because the context runs with this user. Make sure that you're putting the debug log for the right user. In case if everything has been done and still your Apex class has not been triggered, make sure your instructions in the topic are well written. So all you can do is simply say call the Apex class name if the user requests for the query that they have. So it could be asking for a weather, it could be something in your context. So make sure that your instructions are well written, so that way the topic comes into your, the request comes to your topic and then goes to your action accordingly. So that is all for this video. Hope your Apex action is now working. If this video is helpful, do like, share and subscribe for more such videos.